So what if you struggle to know what your one thing is? Like, what if you don't know what you want or what you have to say? Have you ever had this experience where maybe you got handed the mic and they're like, well, what would you say about that? Or what's your opinion? And you're like, well, I don't know. I don't really have anything, or I don't know what to say, or I don't know what to do. What if you don't have your own purpose yet? Like, you don't know your purpose. What if you don't know what your mission, vision, values is? What if that's something that you haven't quite articulated yet? You know, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So it's been said. And we need to talk about it because it's time for you to focus on your one thing. You've got to mind your business so that you can change your life. But let's find what's your business, like what's your thing to mind. You ready? Let's go. Sensei Victoria Whitfield from strategicmeditation.com. I help impact-driven entrepreneurs and leaders like you get and stay grounded and clear in mind, body, and business. It's my honor to help you increase your energy so that you can increase your income and impact in the industry, right? I believe that when more good people make good money, more good happens in the world. And so these videos, right, I call them business energy flow forecasts so that you can see ahead of time what to expect so that you can continue to get out there and do the good work that you are called to in your industry, right? So if that speaks to you, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications here on YouTube. And by the way, send this to someone who needs to hear, like, if you know someone who's like, I don't know what I want, or I don't know what I think. If you have anybody who says that, send them this video because we are going to get into it today, all right? So in the practice of Reiki, which is why I'm Sensei Victoria Whitfield, Sensei means teacher in Japanese, and that represents the fact that I'm from a lineage of teachers in the specific practice of Reiki, which is a wonderful system of techniques for holistic stress management. And I use Reiki in my toolbox as a high performance coach for entrepreneurs and leaders to help them increase and balance out their energy levels so they can continue to endure in doing the work that they're called to. And one of the foundational practices in Reiki is the 5 Reiki principles. And each one of these weeks that we're going through this 5-week series on the power and the problem of language, we're actually looking at a different Reiki principle. And so with this being the 4th out of our 5 video series, this is all about just for today, I will be grateful. That is the 4th Reiki principle. Just for today, I will be grateful. Kyo dake wa kansha shite, right? I will be grateful. And this concept of gratitude is moreover a concept of awareness. Are you aware of your resource or not, right? That's what's underneath. Talk about being grateful. It's not just like, oh, thank you, I appreciate you, thank you for the food, thank you for your help, thank you for your love, blah, blah, blah. Absolutely. And what are we doing when we're really being grateful? We're actually bringing to our conscious awareness the resources that we have on hand. That makes us more resourceful. We are resourced. We have more awareness of what are the building blocks, the circumstances, the things that we're working with. And when we are more resourced, we can be more resourceful, meaning we can take these components and do something with it, right? It's kind of like cooking. You need to know that you have all the ingredients on hand so that you can bake the thing that the recipe you're working on is going to make. So, right, if I don't have all the ingredients for cookies, I'm not going to be able to produce cookies. If I don't have all of my resources gathered, I can't be resourceful. I can't produce my intended results. Understood? So with that, when we're being grateful, we're actually being resourceful. We're becoming resource conscious. Okay, I want you to like kind of drop a pin in that awareness, because we're talking about the problem of not knowing what you stand for, not knowing what's your one thing. And if you don't know what you stand for, you have no idea of what resources you really have on hand to produce the results that you want to make. It's critical then, therefore, that you figure out exactly how to know what you stand for, to know what you want, to know your point of view, right? Your frame of reference. Because the problem of language is that if you don't have your own frame of reference, right, your own perspective, you're just inheriting the points of view and the values of others. You're just like a receptacle. You're everybody's idea trash can, rather than being an idea resource. Do you understand what I'm saying? Type in the comments below if this is resonating with you. I was challenged by my guides to share this with you, and out of obedience, I'm doing it, right? I want to make sure that you're getting this, that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, because of the way that language works. When you hear people say stuff, you receive their insights and their point of view. But if you don't have your own point of view, you're just going to become a carbon copy of the people, right? And the influences that you expose yourself to. You were called to be you in this lifetime, not a mini-me of so-and-so over there, not a carbon copy of all of them that came before you. This is your life, and it's imperative that you find your unique point of view. But okay, so in this series, we always turn to history, science, and spirit for insight, you know, to help us understand the concept. And today in particular, we're focusing on your one thing. We're talking about finding your one thing so that you can put your mind to work on it. It's critical that you do so. And in the spirit of that, for history, we're turning to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And we're on chapter 1. We've been doing a chapter by chapter study all year over the course of this Stay on Track series. And for today's selection, we're going to be reading about one sound idea is all you need. One sound idea is all you need. That's the key for you to stay on track. That's the one thing that's stopping you from staying on track, is you don't know what your thing is, right? Let's talk about it. What of the man who has neither the time nor the inclination to study failure in search of knowledge that may lead to success? Where and how is he to learn the art of converting defeat into stepping stones to opportunity? In answer to these questions, this book is written. Napoleon Hill is talking. One sound idea is all you need. The answer to this question called for a description of 13 principles, which is what the whole book will be, or is. But remember, as you read the answer you may be seeking to the questions that have caused you to ponder over the strangeness of life may be found in your own mind through some idea, plan, or purpose that may spring into your mind as you read this book. One sound idea is all that one needs to achieve success. The principles described in this book contain ways and means of creating useful ideas. Before we go any further in our approach to the description of these principles, we believe you are entitled to receive this important suggestion. When riches begin to come, they come so quickly, in such great abundance, that one wonders where they've been hiding during all those lean years. This is an astounding statement, and all the more so when we take into consideration the popular belief that riches come only to those who work hard and long. When you begin to think and grow rich, you will observe that riches begin with a state of mind, with definiteness of purpose, with little or no hard work. You and every other person ought to be interested in knowing how to acquire the state of mind that will attract riches. I, Napoleon Hill, spent 25 years in research because I too wanted to know how wealthy men become that way. Observe very closely. As soon as you master the principles of this philosophy and begin to follow the instructions for applying those principles, your financial status will begin to improve, and everything you touch will begin to transmute itself into an asset for your benefit. Impossible? Not at all. One of the main weaknesses of mankind is the average man's familiarity with the word impossible. He knows all the rules that will not work. He knows all the things that cannot be done. This book was written for those who seek the rules that have made others successful and are willing to stake everything on those rules. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious. The object of this book is to help all who seek it to learn the art of changing their minds from failure consciousness to success consciousness. So I'm going to stop right there because tying this back, my spirit guides are like coming through really strong right now. Tying this back to focusing on your one thing. Where you place your attention matters. And it's just one idea that can completely change your life, completely change the way you perceive all of reality. One truth that completely opens up the windows of abundance to pour over you all the blessings possible, simply because, aha, right? It's the aha moment of you realizing your one thing. And in this quote, this selection right here, Napoleon Hill, you know, he's talking about selling, reading the book, right? It's the first chapter, as you should. And he explains the literal linchpin of growing rich is thinking for yourself, specifically how you think, going from failure conscious thinking to success conscious thinking. That's why one idea, your one idea that's unique to you, that comes from this, one of the sneaky things that in that quote is he mentioned converting failure and defeat into success and riches, converting your own failure and defeat into success and riches. In those quotes in this section of the book is a really great hint for helping you find out your one thing if you don't know what your one thing is yet. Look at your failures and your defeats. Look at the things that you have overcome and you have been through in your unique life. Not what happened to your grandma, your great-great-grandma, your great so-and-so. Nope. Not what someone said on the news you should care about. Not what your family stands for. I'm talking about you in your own life experiences. What are the biggest challenges and turning points of your life? What were the biggest defeats and failures that you thought you would never make it through, but somehow they're in your past and you're here. No matter what here looks like, they're in your past. Something that you never thought you were able to get through is in your past, and now you're here. That, I get the chills. That right there is where you will find what you stand for. What's your expertise? What's your brilliance? What's your thing, right? Focus on that. Go back over the course of your life and look at some of the biggest challenges that are behind you. And that's going to really help you understand the context with which you operate. And by the way, I'm saying context on purpose because now we're going to go to science. So that was easy to understand, right? History is pretty straight talk. Some of the comments on YouTube has been like, yo, when you read the science articles, I'm like, what? So relax. I'm here to be your science translator, right? I'm human intelligence, helping to convert all of this like technobabble into down to earth, like applicable to you and your issue right now of finding what's your thing. And so we're going to turn to AI. All month, all over the course of this 5-episode series, we've been looking at artificial intelligence, large language models studies. And we're going to MIT with this article quote. In particular, it's from May 1st of 2024, so very recent article, really exciting developments in AI. And I want you to keep a lookout for the problem and the power of language, right? So we talked about that with Napoleon Hill of like the problem and the power of language is if you don't have your own point of view, you're just going to inherit whatever somebody else says to you. You're just a trash can for other people's ideas, other people's things. You don't have your own thing. So now we're going to jump from that, from history, over to the cutting edge research going on in large language model studies of AI, which is artificial intelligence, up at MIT. And there's a huge problem around how the artificial intelligence, how the AI is interpreting language. There's a huge gap that they're about to make a bridge over. And I'm going to read it to you. And I'm going to show you how this can actually help you find your one thing. Are you ready for it? Okay. And so the title of this article, if you're clicking on it in the description of this video, it's the one that says Natural Language Boosts LLM Performance in Coding, Planning, and Robotics. Alrighty. And so this is from MIT. 3 neurosymbolic methods help language models find better abstractions within natural language. Then use those representations to execute complex tasks. So this is, pause. This article is going to show you the benefit as well as how to find what's your thing. The difference of you not knowing versus you knowing, like how much of a difference and an impact that can make, as well as how to find exactly what's the gap. All right, unpause. Large language models, LLMs, are becoming increasingly useful for programming and robotics tasks. But for more complicated reasoning problems, the gap between these systems and humans looms large. Without the ability to learn new concepts like humans do, these systems fail to form good abstractions, essentially high-level representations of complex concepts that skip less important details and thus sputter when asked to do more sophisticated tasks. Pause. What did that just say, Victoria? So the problem in AI is that it can't figure out how to do new things. It can do what it was told to do, but when it's presented with something that it wasn't told about before, it has no idea really how to figure it out, or if it's going to try, it takes up way too much time. Or in the words of Napoleon Hill, it works long and hard. And in AI, those two words we don't want at all. We don't want AI to work long, and we don't want it to work hard. We want it to work fast and super smart, so that when you use AI, you're like, ooh, that was easy. That happened super fast. No, you don't want to be like, wow, that robot is working really hard. No, nobody cares. It's like, I want what I wanted yesterday. So they're trying to close that gap. And with that, they're also trying to make the robot's ability to reason closer to human reasoning. Because if you tell a kid or a person, like, hey, go and get the knife from the kitchen, the plastic knife, not the sharp knife, the kid will be like, okay, I can figure that out. I know what plastic is. Ooh, I know where our kitchen is. Okay, I know what a knife is. Ooh, I better be careful. I remember, right? It has all of these memories and concepts of plastic, concepts of a knife, a kitchen, etc. Some of you are like, oh my God, don't tell your children to get knives, Victoria. But that was you. Thank you. And that was just an example. Unpause. Let's get back to it. Luckily, MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, CSAIL for short, researchers have found a treasure trove of abstractions within natural language. In 3 papers to be presented at the International Conference on Learning Representations this month, so that's May 2024, the group shows how our everyday words are a rich source of context for language models, helping them build better overarching representations for code synthesis, AI planning, and robotic navigation and manipulation. Pause. What the heck was that? So basically, this group of researchers at MIT have found that the code that they're using has the context inside of it. If you would just approach the code, meaning the language, if you would just approach the language with a different frame of mind, you can actually get the ability to figure out things that you've never been taught before. If you approach the language that you are hearing and receiving with a different frame of mind, insert from failure consciousness frame of mind to success consciousness frame of mind. If you approach the language and the words that people are giving you with a different frame of mind, you can actually figure out stuff that you've never been able to figure out. It's consciousness, from failure conscious to success conscious. Unpause. These 3 separate frameworks build libraries of abstractions for their given task. Number 1, LILO, which is short for Library Induction from Language Observations, can synthesize, compress, and document code. Number 2, ADA, which is short for Action Domain Acquisition, explores sequential decision-making for artificial intelligence agents. And 3, LGA, which is short for Language Guided Abstraction, helps robots better understand their environments to develop more feasible plans. Each system is a neurosymbolic method, a type of AI that blends human-like neural networks and program-like logical components. Pause. So this is where we're going to see how to find your thing. How. And it's 3 points. 1, documentation, which is LILO. 2, decision, make a choice, which is ADA. And 3, planning. Okay? So for you, when you're working on figuring out what's your one thing that you stand for so that you don't fall for everything, you need to, 1, document what happened. What happened in the past? Do you have data? Do you remember what was the failures and the defeats that you overcame and are in your past? Number 2, make a decision. As you look at these, now that you look at the data, go through it and see, what's the story that's coming out of these overcoming experiences of mine? What can I decide now that I see what I've been through, what I stand for? And then plan, all right, now that I see what happened to me and I'm seeing the story as like a sequential story of wisdom and expertise, now I'm going to plan going forward that this is my point of view. Did you just catch what I just said? Say got it, if that's you. Because that right there, just like they're learning how to get the AI to figure out the next thing, but we're going to use what they're teaching AI to make ourselves better, right? It's time for you to go from failure consciousness to success consciousness. Convert your defeats into your expertise. You were not defeated. You were just learning. Just like AI. Unpause. This may be my best series yet. Shout out to me. So this is the reaction. An exciting frontier in AI. Quote, library learning. So all of this, what I just described, pause. All of that going through the document, decide, and plan is called library learning. For you, you're getting your own library of concepts and understanding of your own self-worth and wisdom. But back to AI. AI needs its own library of understanding as well. Unpause. Library learning represents one of the most exciting frontiers in artificial intelligence, offering a path towards discovering and reasoning over compositional abstractions, says assistant professor of the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Robert Hawkins, who was not involved with the MIT papers. So he's just like commenting on them. Hawkins notes that previous techniques exploring this subject have been, quote, too computationally expensive to use at scale and have an issue with the lambdas or keywords used to describe new functions in many languages that they generate. They tend to produce opaque lambda salads, big piles of hard to interpret functions. These recent papers demonstrate a compelling way forward by placing large language models in an interactive loop with symbolic search, compression, and planning algorithms. This work enables the rapid acquisition of more interpretable and adaptive libraries for the task at hand. Pause. What does that mean, Victoria? Okay, so basically what Dr. Hawkins just explained was that if you don't take the time to get your own library, write up your own library, like I described with those three, the documentation, decision, and plan, if you don't create your own library of learning, you won't know what you stand for because you have no self-awareness. And in fact, it's going to be too computationally expensive, meaning too cognitively expensive for you to use at scale, meaning you won't be able to figure out what you stand for whenever somebody else has something to say. And now more than ever, people have something to say. So you're going to be left there being like, I don't have my own point of view. I don't know, because you don't know yourself. You didn't take time to write out your own library of learning, as it would be called, with those 3 steps, as it would be called by AI researchers. And on top of that, if you don't create your own library of learning, without it, you get word salad. Word salad, where you're just basically a trash can coming up with whatever you're regurgitating that you heard somebody else say or you thought sounded good, but you don't know why somebody said that, and you don't know why it sounds good. It just feels like, well, I'm saying what so-and-so said, and so now because my mother said it, because my father said it, because my grandfather said it, because blah, 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 because so-and-so said it, I'm just as important as so-and-so. But it's just word salad, or in AI language, it's lambda salad, right? So your language is just garbled, because you don't stand for anything. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right? Type in the comments below if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Unpause. By building libraries of high quality code abstractions using natural language, the 3 neurosymbolic methods, right, of, remember, the document, decide, and plan, unpause. The 3 neurosymbolic methods make it easier for language models to tackle more elaborate problems and environments in the future. This deeper understanding of the precise keywords within a prompt presents a path forward in developing more human-like AI models. Relating this back to focusing on your one thing. This is the how and the why. If you want to be able to tackle more complex issues, if you want to enter the debate and add value, you need to know what value you have, right? You need to have your own values and your own beliefs, your own mission, your own vision, your own story. Long story short, right? If you want to add value, if you want to stand for something, you need to know what you're working with. And if you don't know what's your one thing, it's because you haven't done the work to write up your own library, right? To go back. What's the biography of brilliance? What defeats, what failures have you overcome? Make the time. Take the time to do. I will. The spirit guides say, read the card. So now on to Spirit. What does Spirit have to say? Life experience. It's 16 in the major arcana. A significant life event. A powerful revelation that leads to change. Time to spread your wings. You drew this card because a recent event has been a wake-up call for you to make some life changes. This may be a new revelation or something you've known but have been procrastinating about. Now you've realized that this situation cannot be ignored and action is necessary. This is a moment of both freedom and awakening. The way you see yourself and the world has forever changed, bringing you growth and encouraging you to spread your wings. Allow these new insights to motivate you to embrace the path of your heart's true desires and your intuition. Additional meanings of this card: liberation, suddenly seeing the truth, rapid, inevitable change, time running out. Archangel Chamuel can help you find whatever you're seeking, including right relationships and a divinely guided career. Call upon Chamuel and then follow your intuition, which is the way this angel speaks to you, okay? So this life experience card is saying that 2 things I'm hearing from my guides. 1, you're going to have that huge aha moment. Oh, this is my purpose. When you do the exercise of creating your learning library, like going over your biography of defeats and failures that you've overcome and seeing your expertise. When you do that, you're going to see your life's experiences. You're going to get it. Like, oh, this is what I'm working with. I'm grateful for the defeat, right? Kanshaste. I am grateful. Just for today, I will be grateful for what was once a failure is now a success, right? So that's for 1. And for 2, this is more a prophetic word. My spirit guides are saying this week, this day in particular, I don't know what's happening, but apparently you are about to notice that what you've been told is different than your truth. When you make it a point to look back over like, okay, what actually happened to me during these years of my life or during these dark times, during these challenges? What actually happened to me? Oh, that's what I see is in what I experienced, but I've been being told that I didn't experience that. Wait a minute. Like there's going to be an awakening when you take a step back to look at your own library of data, right? We've been talking in this series all about fact checking, right? And the importance of that and how if you don't do it can actually be deadly, like in the medical field. But for this week in particular, this is about your life experience. Don't let somebody or something else, like the news or social media, don't let anybody tell you what your life experiences. You need to get clear on that, because apparently something someone's pulled the wool over your eyes, and it's time you lifted it up and go and make your own library, so that the next time you hear people saying stuff, you don't get confused on what your real life experience is. And with that, the action step of the day, as always, is we're going to hop on school to do a strategic meditation, because, all right, we've said all of this stuff. It's time to feel it, right? It's time for the activation. You're going to type in the search bar at the top, you're going to type spinal solar cleansing. Spinal solar cleansing meditation. It's in the grounding meditations part of your vault of visualizations. It's 11 minutes long. And so the spinal solar cleansing, what it's going to do is help you find your spine, your backbone, and activate it. It's going to empower you to come fully into alignment with who you really are. You want to do that I get the chills. You want to do that strategic meditation and activate your connection to being the fullest extent of who you really are. Now, coming to the end of this video, and you may be thinking, wow, Victoria, that was really amazing. Wow, like I'm trying to work through the assignment of like doing my learning library, writing up all of my stuff, and I just have so many questions. I'm not ready for school yet, Victoria. Who do I call? I'm right here, and my contact link is in the description. Click on that, hop on my calendar. It's a complimentary half an hour. Let's hop on the phone and chat, you and I, about what's coming up for you hearing all this, and how I or someone I know can help you. So I'm sending you so much love. We'll see you next week for the last installment of this series. And remember, you do not have to lose your glow as you grow in life and business. Bye for now.